while we are walking here in Ho Chi Minh. I want to talk to you about how to bike pack budget friendly here in Vietnam. And I actually chose to follow the coastline and the highway all the way from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh, and that was because that was less terrain, the easiest way to bike. Of course, I could have chosen to go all the way down to the coastline, but then you have more local roads, gravel roads, more terrain, and also if you were more into the country, then you will have had much more hills. Both of those alternatives would have been more scenic, but I don't stress about that because I was supposed to be in Vietnam for 45 days, then Cambodia, Laos and Thailand, so it doesn't matter for me because I'm going to be here for 6 months. So now I have built up my stamina, and that's why I chose that route. But then you know why I chose what I did. But that also means if you follow the highway like I did, that means it's much more difficult to find campsites to pitch your tent. It is doable, but I focused on the easy access and the comfort here in Vietnam, although I find it quite comfortable to be in a tent. But what I mean about comfort, it's like then I can just focus on just bike, take in the scenery, because in Vietnam I was going to bike approximately 1,900 kilometers in 45 days, and I'm only going to bike around 900 kilometers for 1 month in both Cambodia and Laos. But enough about that. And in the beginning, when I started this journey in Vietnam, I also experienced that since I didn't know any Vietnamese words, I actually a lot of times paid 3 to 5 times above the local prices. That is something I experienced after a little while, because when I started to use the local language, like hello, no, thank you, how much, and everything in Vietnamese, every single time when I did that, I got the local prices. So that is something I actually recommend, because if you go like 100% tourists, only speak English or not that, then you will most probably get more tourist prices. So that's just another tip. And also I like to learn the local language when I'm going to be here for such a long time, in respect. And I also find it quite interesting. And in Vietnam, if you want to then use a hotel every single night like I did, more or less, I also chose to be in a hotel and not hostels. That is because I'm biking with a lot of expensive equipment to vlog and so on. And then I don't want to share room and bunk beds with a lot of different people. And when I go out for sightseeing, okay, if I was a backpacker, then I could just bring everything along. But as a bikepacker, I can't bring along everything. So then I chose a hotel, and that is around 200,000 200,000 Vietnam dongs. That is approximately $10 a night. And if you also eat outside every single day, if you don't go to like these fine dining restaurants and just eat other local restaurants, the cheap ones, and the food there is very it's amazing. And then you can eat outside 2 times a day, and still it's budget friendly. And that costs around, with water, eating outside 2 times a day, and a little bit snacks, it will cost you around $10 a day. And then you have the local SIM card that is quite cheap, and you have the times when you want to go, like I'm doing today, sightseeing, and some temples, some sightseeing you have to pay for to get in, but it's cheap. So in summary, it costs around $450 up to $500. It all depends on how much you eat. And to find those cheap hotels, I start, sometimes I just bike and I just wing it, and I just bike into a hotel when I arrived at a place I want to stay and ask for a price. And sometimes I get it quite cheap. Other times I use Google Maps. Then I just look at Google Maps to see where the cheap hotels are. And also I also use booking.com, the app, because sometimes you even get additional discounts. So that's how I find my hotels. And also when you are bikepacking, you have no expenses in public transportation to get you around in Vietnam. So that's for free, and you get free exercise. So that was how you can bikepack very budget friendly in Vietnam. But if you also want to do it even cheaper, you can do it, because if you buy food and you make it yourself and you do a lot of more camping, then it will of course be much cheaper. But it's still so cheap here in Vietnam, so I just chose to book into hotels. But that's me. So there you have it, and I hope it was helpful, and maybe it inspired you to go out bikepacking in Vietnam. So just keep moving with happiness and enjoy your next adventure.